All right, here we are at the finals of D3 Open Nationals. I'm Jimmy Leppert.
I'm Dylan Kane.
And we have Carleton College Gods of Plastic against the Puget Sound Postmen. Story of the day, both days here at D3 Nationals, has been the wind. It's very sunny, very windy. It's been a battle to get those upwind breaks.
GoP is coming out man, and there's a big flick cut coming from the Postman right away, and it's going to go out of bounds on the corner of the end zone.
GoP has been working up the disc very patiently. Out of all the teams here, they have some of the best throws upwind.
You've got number 6 Scott Graber with the disc swinging to John Isaac. Graber, Isaac, and number 25 Matt Godfrey have been their kind of offensive handling core during bracket play with this intense wind. Have done a great job resetting the disc consistently and moving it upfield. There's a turn from Matt Godfrey. Another quick throw to the end zone from Puget Sound. That's going to be a score. Number 23, Eric Hopfenbeck with the score in the back corner of the end zone there.
It's 1-0, Puget Sound. Just a reminder, this coverage is brought to you by USA Ultimate, Scott Magazine, and Spin Ultimate. It's part of the college tour.
So it already looks like we're seeing some of the strategy from each team. Puget Sound is looking to punt right away. They're not going to give GoP a short field to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And GoP is going with what will work for them against St. John's in the quarterfinal. Working it up really patiently, breaking the mark, letting their handlers reset quickly and be patient and find their cutters upfield for the upwind breaks.
Same thing worked for them in the semifinal against North Park. They kind of blew North Park out of the water after a while. Their handling core was too much to handle for North Park, and North Park just couldn't shut them down. It led to break after break. Puget Sound, on the other hand, faced Rice in the semifinal, and Puget Sound had a 13-10 lead, game to 14, and Rice came back to tie it at 13s, but then in one throw, Puget Sound won on Universe.
There's Puget Sound is pulling upwind. Winds are probably hitting 25 miles an hour right now, almost straight upwind, downwind. We're filming from the downwind end zone. So this game's going to be a question of who can get those upwind breaks. Puget Sound's coming out with a junk zone against GOP's Hostak. Looks like GOP is working pretty quickly through that. It's not a trap zone. Forcing middle, forcing those long throws across the field. And an errant throw is caught, and a quick turn into the end zone by Will Gagny Maynard on GoP. Quick blade up the line is incomplete by Puget Sound, and GoP will be back on offense against Puget Sound's zone.
Gagny Maynard with the disc. Dishes.
A turn on the corner of the end zone by GoP.
Errant throw by Max Willard.
And here's Puget Sound's Kai Lewis with the disc. Kai is one of their big throwers. He's the guy you're probably going to see throwing a hammer or a blade over the cup to try and beat this GoP zone. Here's Reese Lindmark on the mark. And a backhand is floating back into the end zone, and GoP's going to get the disc on the goal line.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be seeing him throw any scoopers or hammers over the cup today, at least upwind. Isaac picks up the disc on the end line.
Body up. Quick reset to Graber. Back to Isaac. Out in space in front of, and it's going to be a turn.
Too far for Gagny Maynard to make a play on the disc.
Now Kai Lewis picking up the disc again for the Puget Sound Postman.
On D, GOP's running this tight zone. They have a big three-man cup, and Reese Lindmark on the mark, and he doesn't allow anything off. And there's that hammer.
Hammer from Kai Lewis is complete all the way to the opposite sideline. If he can complete that against the GOP zone, they're going to have an easy time with it. We saw against St. John's, GoP was running this cup with 4 guys right on the disc and 2 more wings just a few yards behind the cup. So if GoP is trying to play that kind of aggressive zone against a thrower like Kai Lewis who can put it over the top, even in this wind, they're gonna struggle.
So there was a call on the play. Foul, I believe. It's going to the observer. GOP disc. This is the Reese Lindmark for the score. 1-1. A few substitutions for GoP, and out comes their D-line. Isaac, Lindmark stay on. We've also got Rogers, Graber, guy named Maynard, Berglund, and Matt Godfrey.
Gonna be looking for Scott Graber, Matt Godfrey, and John Isaac to run that handling core upwind for GoP. They were really the reason they were getting upwind breaks earlier today. Let's see if they can keep it up. Puget Sound cuts deep right away. Throw doesn't come. Look for an in cut.
Sails too far away.
You got Scott Graber picking up the disc. Graber to Godfrey.
Just too far. Postmen get the disc just outside the end zone.
And the quick throw to space is complete for the goal.
2-1.
That was Puget Sound's number 20, Luke Jesperson, with the goal.
Now, as winning as it's been, GOP hasn't been punting the disc and then playing defense on their downwind out points. They've been consistently working the disc down the field and still been able to convert on almost every single one this weekend.
The big question has been the team's ability to pull. GoP was throwing some great pulls, going more than half the length of the field, which has been uncommon in this win at D3 Nationals, and that definitely helps them get some of those upwind breaks. He's got a pretty solid pull for number 25 on the Puget Sound. GoP is starting about midfield. Puget Sound comes out in a poach D with a flat mark and a guy poaching in the lane on each side. It's like a quick swing to the backhand sideline, and again, Reese Lindmark.
Back to center of the field for GOP.
Looks like Puget Sound is now playing man, trapping on that backhand sideline.
Farva has the disc.
Trapped on the sideline, up line. Complete to John Isaac. Over the top to number 67, Anders Berglund, for the goal.
And that's 2-2. Let's see if Gagne Maynard can have a big pull. And he does.
Nice pull from Gagne Maynard. Puget Sound's going to start with the disc. Probably about their own brick.
No, I think they're still...
There's a big poach from GoP, but they throw right over the top.
Big D by number 11 on GOP, Alex Walker on the Puget Sound Huck.
And it looks like John Isaac is coming back to pick up the disc here. Isaac with a swing.
Oh, just a little too far.
Matt Godfrey.
Up. And a score for Puget Sound, 3-2. So uncharacteristic mistakes here by GOP when they get the chance for an upwind break. So far, the Postman's strategy of hucking and playing defense has been working.
I don't think either team has had the disc more than 20, 25 yards outside their own end zone. So We'll see if that can keep up. Looks like a timeout was called on the field.
Number 23, Eric Hopfenbeck for Puget Sound. It's getting ready to pull out of the what we believe to be a GOP timeout. Wind's starting to pick up even a little more.
I'd guess these are like 25, maybe even 30-mile-an-hour gusts at times. But there are times when the wind cools off, and that's going to be a big opportunity for one of these teams to get an upwind break. Looks like Puget Sound is waiting for the wind to calm down a bit for the pull. Big outside-in pull from Eric Hoppenbeck.
Rolls to about half field.
John Isaac picking up. Quick swing to Scott Graber.
Big huck to Reese.
Lindmark just over his head.
Oh, what a grab! Reese Lindmark comes down with the grab.
It's an unbelievable catch. That disc was directly over his head. That's incredibly hard to read, but he stayed with it. And
quite the facial expression on the way, too.
He has quite the game face.
It's now 3-3. That was an uncharacteristic huck there from GOP, but they had Lindmark streaking deep, and the throw was perhaps a little off because of the wind, but Lindmark still came down with it. He's been making plays like that all weekend long. He's one of the reasons GOP is here.
Yeah, he's a cutter for GOP, but especially going upwind against zones, he's been incredibly important on the continuation. Their handler core is incredibly patient, resetting the disc, working it patiently, and when they can find him through the cup, they're off to the races. He's running the show, keeping the disc moving and getting it downfield.
And then on the defensive side of the disc, you see him on now for this line. He's come up with a lot of big layout Ds.
And his mark in GoP's zone has been key. He's got a bunch of hand blocks in earlier games and been shutting down the swings and trapping the other team on the downwind sideline whenever possible. Looks like GoP is coming out with a bit of a zone. Got 3 guys poaching right in front of the disc.
And the big deep look.
It looks like GoP
may
have come out man on all the downfield cutters, but taking all the handler defenders and putting them right in front of the disc, trying to prevent that big, quick huck for the score like we saw earlier.
John Isaac goes pick up the disc for GOP.
We got Reese Lindmark back handling. John Isaac, Reese Lindmark, and Scott Graber behind the disc for GOP. GOP's crowding that trap sideline right now. No one is on the other half of the field. Now they're spreading out a bit more, but an errant throw is going to go to Puget Sound.
And there's Reese Lindmark with a huge D. The Postmen thought they had over top of Lindmark open, and he got up and got that D.
There's Gagny Maynard with the disc. The quick dump to Scott Graber. It's like a foul was called on the play. Off disc.
Graber with the disc.
Puget Sound is going man upwind, which is not something we've seen very often. Puget Sound working it very patiently. Reese Lindmark over to Gagny Maynard. Up the sideline to Corey Farva, right on the line. Call on the play. Looks like Farva's getting to a high stall count. He's got Scott Graber straight behind him for a dump. Swing to Reese Lindmark.
He's in the middle of the field.
IO break floats up in the air. Looks like GOP catches it.
Wow.
Got a hand on it, tipped it up, and there's a timeout called. They're just a few yards from this upwind end zone right now.
That's a big timeout call. after the big grab. Timeout should allow them to bring out a set play. We've seen that when their set play comes out, it's typically been 3 handlers back, 2 cutters in a stack, and the other 3 line in the back of the end zone. And they've been able to isolate one of those cutters or a handler to get open and put in the score. A break here would give their defense the downwind, and Puget Sound has not been able to work the disc up downwind at all when GOP's downwind O has turned over the disc. That would be huge. They would give them a big advantage early on in this game.
Yeah, GOP's zone in that downwind end zone has just been lethal. So looks like number 15, Peter Rogers of GOP, came down with that floaty disc. He's got John Isaac and Reese Lindmark as resets to the left and right. And GOP's kind of coming out in a straight vert stack, centered on Peter Rogers.
Different look than before.
Looks like Puget Sound is poaching into the lane off of John Isaac, looking to force a quick throw to a handler rather than throw upfield. Rogers hits Isaac. Isaac upfield to Gagny Maynard for the goal in the upwind break.
That's a big break early in this game. It's now 4-3 GOP over Puget Sound.
Let's go, Postman! Hey, come on, Postman! Do something cool!
And already, that looks to have already kind of deflated the Puget Sound sidelines. They've been energetic up to this point, and this is the first time after a point that they're not cheering on their guys just as much as GOP is.
Gagny Maynard with the GOP pull. It's a big outside-in pull. Looks like it's going to land just inside the PD. Oh, wow.
Wow. Oh, that was really close to landing in.
That was just inches past the line, called out by the observer. So Puget Sound will be taking it on the brick. Kai Lewis picking up. And it looks like GOP is coming out man-to-man.
This looks like a look they were running last game. They call it Ong Bak after the Thai martial arts film. And you see when the disc is in the center of the field, the guy covering that handler stays on him, but the other 2 people covering handlers poach off into the lane, really limiting the looks that those handlers can have.
And a swing floats a bit, and it looks like Puget Sound was just inches out of bounds. GOP is going to pick up the disc about 30 yards from their second break of the game to get the downwinder. Isaac upfield to Corey Farva. Farva's highest ball count. It's like a call and play. GOP calling out to clean up that vert stack.
Shut down the handlers.
Farva the swing to Scott Graber. And Graber hits John Isaac. John Isaac the center of this handling core for GOP. Throws the IO break. A drop by Peter Rogers in the end zone.
Number 40 picks it up for Puget Sound.
It's Kai Lewis with a quick swing back to Kai.
And there's that look again.
Looks like GOP is still running a lot of junk. They're man downfield, playing tough D on the cutters. But these poaches are preventing the Puget Sound handlers from fighting into those cutters upfield. Quick backhand around to the sideline, and a huck goes up way downfield.
Big layout D by GOP.
So it's going to give GOP the disc far closer to the upland end zone than they've had it all game. This is a good defensive chance for Puget Sound. In cut to
Reese.
Peter Rogers. Big fake and swing back to Reese Lindmark. Puget Sound's showing some flat marks, trying to prevent any upfield throws. Scott Graber with the disc. Okay, we're back to Lindmark. Quick throw to the sideline to Peter Rogers.
Rogers looks upfield.
Rogers looking back for his dump. There's Lindmark up line, and the throw's just a bit too low. Looks like a travel was called. Number 31, Spencer Sheridan, may have picked the disc up and taken a step before releasing it after the turnover. Travel is upheld by the observer.
Yeah, it looks like he thought he was in the end zone, but just he wasn't yet. Just a little bit outside of it.
That's Eric Hoffenbeck with the disc. Spencer Sheridan. Playing the number 1, Jonas Cole. All the way around, floating. It's going to be a turnover. GoP disc on the flick sideline. John Isaac picking it up, calling out his isolation play in the end zone. Swinging to Scott Graber, around to Reese Lindmark. John Isaac, it's the layout catch goal in the end zone.
That's actually Peter Rogers with that
Peter Rogers
layout grab.
Goal.
It's now 5-3 GOP over Puget Sound. Two straight breaks by the GOP defense. And now they've gotten 2 breaks. See some of the star players, Lindmark, Graber, and others have come off for GOP.
Matt Godfrey looking to pull. Big pull from Matt Godfrey. Reed Jordan on the mark, and a big huck right away, floating up in the end zone.
Looks like the GOP defenders thought that their man was going to go out of bounds and wasn't going to get the disc, so they backed off, but that let number 44 from Puget Sound.
Sam Berkelhammer with the goal.
It's now 5-4 GOP after the quick downwind score by Puget Sound. Here comes Puget Sound's D-line as GOP brings back out Reese Lindmark,
Gagne Maynard, John Isaac,
and
Corey
others.
Farva.
Once again, it looks like the Postmen are waiting for the wind to die down just a little bit before they pull. Here they go.
Number 29, Peter Sellier with the pull, outside in backhand.
When that rolls back towards him, luckily one of his men goes up and stops it.
And it looks like Puget Sound is coming out with a little bit of a junk again. They got a poacher in the lane. I think it's just zone defense. They got a kind of junk zone that GOP is swinging pretty quickly against. Unlike most teams we've seen this weekend, their zone is forcing towards the middle of the field, giving GOP those easy resets, but I got hoping to bait a turn through the middle.
Isaac with the disc on the sideline, over to Reese Lindmark.
Ooh, and a drop by Gagne Maynard is going to give Puget Sound the disc. It's Kai Lewis. Back to Kai. Sideline to Peter Sellier.
Puget Sound's working it up here.
And a huck up the line is D'd by GoP. Looks like Puget Sound is setting their zone again. Same junk look, forcing towards the middle of the field, forcing those long swings. Quick catch and throw, Lindmark, Farva. Peter Rogers back to Lindmark. Lindmark at the swing, it floats! John Isaac almost came down with the trash, but doesn't quite get it. Kai Lewis picking up the disc for Puget Sound.
25 Bram Heyman with the D for Puget Sound. He's back trying to handle. Flick puck, sails left, away from his man.
And Puget Sound is setting their zone again. We'll see if GOP decides to work it or if they're going to huck it, as this disc is inching towards the Puget Sound end zone as they kind of punt and play this junk zone that's getting some turns from GOP. A quick high release break from Lindmark to Farva. And then another swing floats from GOP. Peter Rogers brings it down back to John Isaac, who puts it up the sideline just a few yards too far for
Alex Walker.
Alex Walker cutting down the line.
Kai Lewis picking up the disc for Puget Sound. Being forced backhand.
Here's a handler, Bram Heyman, who shorts an in cut, giving GOP the disc just outside the end zone.
John Isaac goes to pick up the disc.
We're going to isolate Gagny Maynard. Quick throw and
down with it.
Score for Gagny Maynard.
He was covered tight by his man, and someone from Puget Sound even went and poached the lane, and Gagny Maynard still came down with that disc. GOP over Puget Sound. GOP comes out looking for another upwind break. It would be their second upwind break of the day and their third break of the game if they got it here. Puget Sound just wants to punch it in and hope that their upwind O on the next D point could punch it in.
This is another line from GOP where they're resting a lot of their top players. Lindmark, Gagny Maynard, Isaac, Graber, Farva, all off the field. We have Matt Godfrey with the pull.
Godfrey's pull blades but rolls up and then back as the GOP players go and stop the disc. Look huck instantly from Puget Sound, and no one's there for it.
May have been looking for number 23, Eric Hopfenbeck. Matt Godfrey picking up the disc. Quick swing to Reed Jordan.
It's a man look from the Puget Sound defense.
Still poaching in the lanes a little bit, forcing GOP to work hard with their handlers to get the disc up.
Nice grab by number 14, Drew Holman for GOP. Gives it back.
Quick flow back to Godfrey. Anders Berglund on the sideline, back to Godfrey. And throw to an in-cut floats. Puget Sound gets the disc right back, and a huck right away. Flick is floating,
but it just goes too far.
It's number 14, Peter Geertz Larson, making that deep cut as Matt Godfrey picks up the disc again for GOP. We're seeing a pretty remarkable contrast in styles right now where even without some of their top players on the field, GOP is working hard to grind out these cuts with reliable handler resets and breakthrows to move it up the field, while Puget Sound is just consistently hucking and playing D down near the end zone.
That was a drop by Ian Fisher, but something that a foul on the mark gives GOP the disc again on the left sideline.
Matt Godfrey. Tip disc caught by GOP. The sideline to Reed Jordan. Reed Jordan back to the middle. Another tip disc. layout D from Puget Sound.
Mike Alexander tried to force that flick throw upfield.
Luke Jesperson of Puget Sound making that layout D. The up line throw.
Big layout D from Matt Godfrey.
Matt Godfrey is running this D line for GOP right now. He's doing a bit of everything. Here's Anders Berglund with the in-cut. Back to Godfrey. All the way across to Reed Jordan. Jordan finds Godfrey. Godfrey up line. Poacher stops the pass to Reed Jordan, and a quick goal from Puget Sound. That's number 20 with the goal, Luke Jesperson.
6'5" GOP. Still a close game.
We have Puget Sound's Eric Hoppenbeck getting ready for the pull.
That's perhaps his best pull all day. But the wind, once it hits the ground, took it back a little bit.
We have Jonas Cole on the mark. Very tight man defense this time from Puget Sound. None of the poaching we saw from before.
Ganye Maynard gets the disc.
It's Reese Lindmark right on the goal line. Lindmark for Corey Farva. The wind just knocked that disc right down. And Jonas Cole is picking up the disc for Puget Sound.
And here comes the GOP zone. Flick gets through it, up to number 7.
Beautiful blade up the sideline. But 7's swing is floating. Number 20, Luke Jesperson, brings that down for Puget Sound. Throws another blade around the cup. Just a bit too far for the Puget Sound receiver.
Yeah, it looks like the wind pushed that down. It was going right to him, but he tried to make the bid and just couldn't get it. That was 23 Hoffenbeck with the bid there.
John Isaac throwing a huck right away for Reese Lindmark. Just a step too short.
Got pushed just a little too high out of Lindmark's reach as he was going for it. Here comes down. Lindmark's getting ready to set the mark.
It looks like GOP will be coming out with more of their 4-man cup.
Spencer Sheridan with the disc for Puget Sound.
Quickly to Kai Lewis. Kai Lewis is called for a travel for an extra step. Kai Lewis with the disc. Quick swing to Jonas Cole. Kai gets the disc back. Hammer over the top. That's what we saw earlier from Kai, and it's out of bounds. Number 14, Peter Geertz Larson, couldn't keep that in bounds.
You know, he's been able to hammer to the left side of the field, but every time it's just trailing a little bit more and more.
Yeah, John Isaac picking up the disc for GOP. Reese Lindmark cutting at the front of the stack.
Lindmark draws 2 guys with him and still gets open.
That's
Still punched in the score, and that's 7-5 GOP now.
The same isolation set we saw before from them near the end zone, where Reese Lindmark and Corey Farver were isolated in the stack in the end zone, while the other 2 cutters cleared out and made some space. And they have those 3 handlers that can swing the disc and keep it alive and wait until their isolated cutters find some space underneath. At 7-5 GOP, they got a shot to break up wind here for half.
They switch things up on D-line here. They keep some of their O-line guys out on the field.
Going from left to right, we have John Isaac, Will Ganye Maynard, Alex Walker, Matt Godfrey, Mike Alexander, Anders Berglund, and Peter Rogers on for GoP.
Ganye Maynard with the pole.
Big pull from Ganye Maynard. That's probably the best pull we've seen all game. GoP coming coming out man. John Isaac on the mark. Flat mark from GoP. And a flick hook right away.
He's got 3 receivers. Big D, though.
3 players bidding.
But that's number 2, Mike Alexander, coming up with a D. Puget Sound had 3 receivers down there, and Alexander still comes out with a layout D.
John Isaac with the disc.
Alexander gets it. Back to Isaac.
Isaac calls foul on the mark.
GOP looking to break for half here. Alexander gets it. Puts it over, but it floats. Oh, just over top both of them. That was a Callahan chance for Puget Sound there off of Alexander's throw. Puget Sound calls an ISO play.
Spencer Sheridan picking up the disc for Puget Sound. They have Daniel Moselle isolated on the 4 side.
Alexander's covering him, though, and Alexander's doing a great job over the top.
Throw to space is dropped in the back corner of the end zone.
That was a great job by Alexander, shutting down the first 2 cuts by Daniel Moselle of Puget Sound.
John Isaac picking up the disc for GoP. Jonas Cole on the mark.
Gandhi Maynard makes an in-cut. Alexander up line.
Ooh,
just
drop.
too low. / drop. Isaac with a big mark. Back into space. Puget Sound comes down with it.
Number 44, Sam Berkelhammer with the goal for Puget Sound.
And that's 7-6 GOP over Puget Sound. GOP could take half with a no score here. How much of a factor do you think GOP's being able to practice in these North Central wins had in them making the finals today?
I mean, I think you can definitely see GOP's depth at throwing is evident. Puget Sound has a few players who are very confident throwers in the wind, but a number of their cutters on getting an in-cut or a pass through the zone or trying to put an OI to space for someone upfield, and it just dies in the wind, where you can see GoP is running, I think, probably deeper than Puget Sound right now, and almost all of their players are very comfortable with the disc, breaking the mark, throwing dumps to space for their handlers to keep the disc alive, and I think that's been the difference. It isn't even a matter of who can huck in the wind, is who can break the mark and throw in-cuts in the wind.
Mm-hmm. We've seen a lot of teams who have had trouble doing that today. There's a big pull by number 23, Eric Hoffenbeck for Puget Sound, but it starts to roll back.
John Isaac picking up the disc for GoP. He's got Corey Favre isolated on the 4 side. Throw is just a bit short. Puget Sound's going to get a great look, and they rip a huck right away.
Oh, big D.
Reese Lindmark with the layout.
Wow.
Chest high D, and they're going to take the disc right on the edge of their own end zone. Upfield throw, he hits Scott Graber running up the line. That was a big shot for Puget Sound. That was a very nice OI huck up the line there.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a break for them.
And a huck to space. The back line of the end zone, just a bit too far for the streaking GOP cutter.
It ends up in the soccer goal at the end of the field here.
Let's go, Sparrow.
Number 31, Spencer Sheridan for Puget Sound picks up the disc with Kai Lewis behind him.
A scuba over the top gets hung up by the wind.
Oh.
And a bidding number 20, Luke Jesperson, comes down with it. Here's Kai Lewis with the disc. GOP is putting on their 4-man zone again.
But they changed the force this time. Instead of forcing flick, they're forcing backhand. There's a blade backhand up the line, and it's nothing that Hoffenbeck can come down with as it blades instantly.
Puget Sound has been pretty successful with those blades up the line previously against this zone. Well, they're not working every time. Just one throw, and they can work the disc ahead of the cup and get some yards. We saw that on an earlier point when they were successful with one of those blades. So I think they're going to keep trying that. Keep trying that risky throw over the top, see if they can get some flow.
Back to Reese Lindmark for GOP.
IO break to Peter Rogers. The break sideline. Back to Rogers. Rogers throws the inside to Scott Graber. Graber looks behind him for Lindmark. Looks like Corey Farva's now isolated.
Farva's open.
John Isaac now on the break.
But Hoffenbeck caught up to Farva. And the flick up the line to number 6, Scott Graber, goes too far for GOP. And it's Puget Sound disc again. This time on the far right sideline. And Forrest has switched.
Kai Lewis looking for that
flick.
Hammer. He finds the receiver. Almost a miscommunication. Here's Jonas Cole with the disc for Puget Sound. Oh, and
the flick floats.
Almost came back to Jonas Cole. You can see he didn't want to catch it. Looks like there was a foul call while players were going up for the disc.
I believe Kai Lewis is calling the foul on Reese Lindmark. Reese Lindmark jumped up and tried to knock the disc down before it could come back to any Puget Sound player. They all missed it, and Scott Graber stopped the disc from coming back all the way, but no foul call on the play.
Still, that hammer from Kai Lewis is one of the best upwind throws we've seen all day. If Puget Sound can complete those consistently, GOP is going to have to adjust and play that zone less aggressively. Travel is called.
There's a foul call, but Isaac didn't recognize and threw the throw and ended up in an incompletion. Goes to observers right now.
It's like Peter Rogers is calling the foul against Kai Lewis. Peter Rogers of GOP against Kai Lewis of Puget Sound.
No foul, and the disc looks to be staying with John Isaac for now. Some confusion between the two observers. And it's a turn. Puget Sound disc. Kai Lewis picks up.
Violation is called. Looks like the observers determined that the foul did not affect John Isaac's turn on the swing. Some booing from the sideline on the violation called. Jonas Cole with the disc for Puget Sound.
Still Puget Sound disc.
Swing from Cole to Berkelhammer, back to Cole. And the huck from Cole is blading up the sideline.
But Hoffenbeck comes down with it.
Another huck.
Puget Sound has it just outside of the GOP end zone.
And looks like timeout is called by number 31, Spencer Sheridan, after a great layout bid.
Puget Sound with a chance to break here. GOP had 3 chances so far at this point to put in a score and take half, but Puget Sound has been able to work it up the backhand side and go. Somehow their blady backhands, they're still coming down with those.
Yeah, we're seeing the contrast in styles here. Puget Sound is just ripping the disc every time they have a marginally open receiver and a chance for a huck. Those were 2 kind of ugly, blady backhand hucks. They had a little bit of distance on them, but you could see 2 hucks only got them about 50 yards upfield. And both were very close calls on the catches. So let's see what Puget Sound has to do when they're close to the end zone. They can't just float it up and hope someone catches it.
Mm-hmm.
We have Puget Sound, Spencer Sheridan picking up the disc. Puget Sound is coming out in a vert stack, a straight vert, with 3 handlers out. That's Spencer Sheridan and then Kai Lewis on the 4 side as a handler. Looking for the up line.
Puget Sound comes down with it.
That's the goal. I think that was Jonas Cole with the goal. Yeah, Jonas Cole with the goal, making the upline cut for Puget Sound. And that's an enormous break. They're going to have the chance to take it back on serve going into half or even break ahead.
They would be keeping it on serve if they broke into half.
Sorry, 7-7. So this is the point for half.
Same line comes down for GOP. See, to the last point, that they were taking a step away from their usual style of being very conservative with the disc and instead trying to force throws every now and then, and that ended up in them getting broken. Going upwind, they should have to keep it with their conservative style of play if they want to score here and take half on Puget Sound.
It was just like, oh, it's like the first day was this kind of wind, yeah, and the second day was like yesterday's kind of wind.
Here's the downwind pull from Puget Sound. Big outside in. Floating for John Isaac. John Isaac up to Reese Lindmark. Lindmark hits Scott Graber. Graber up to Peter Rogers, just a bit too far. Puget Sound's going to get the disc about 30 yards outside the downwind end zone.
Guy named Maynard on the mark for GOP. Backhand hook floated to the opposite side. Two bidding Puget Sound players, and one of them comes down with it. That's number 14, Peter Gerritz-Larson, that comes down with it, and a flick photo to the opposite side.
Just a bit too far for number 20, Luke Jesperson, looking for that big throw to space. That was two straight throws where, they're not hucks. They're a little too close to the end zone to throw a huck, but a big break out to space for several cutters chasing it down, and then another flick across the field as GoP tries to catch Puget Sound on the opposite sideline. You got Reese Lindmark picking up the disc.
Looks up line to John Isaac.
Great throw up line. Gagne Maynard, back to Isaac.
They go back up line to number 6.
Scott Graber. Graber to Corey Farva. Puget Sound's defense looks tired right now.
Must be a foul called off the disc on John Isaac and the man covering him, number 1, Jonas Cole.
Jonas Cole playing a lot of points for Puget Sound as a handler, trying to work it upwind, and now again on a downwind point for half.
Disc comes in for Farva with the disc for Gods of Plastic.
Inside break to John Isaac. Continues to Gagne Maynard. Gagne Maynard back to Isaac. Isaac just the center of this handling core, especially on upwind points for GoP, doing a great job. Scott Graber over to Reese Lindmark, uncovered on that poach. Finds Peter Rogers on the corner.
Looking for Gagne Maynard.
Gagne Maynard's man fell over. He's wide open right now. Scott Graber can't find him. Over to Peter Rogers. Back to Scott Graber.
Puget Sound doing a great job with the
Line to
defense
John
on the fourth
Isaac.
side.
GoP has to get the disc off this trap sideline. The up line bounces off Scott Graber and is caught by John Isaac. A pretty incredible display of coordination. Keep the disc alive for GoP. Swing to Reese Lindmark is dropped, and Puget Sound will get the disc and huck it right away. Jonas Cole putting it out in front of his receiver, and that's not going to be anywhere near complete.
Very uncharacteristic drop from Reese Lindmark. Here comes going back to get the disc. GOP was easily able to work the disc up the field that time. A few of their upwind throws were uncontested by the defense of Puget Sound.
Puget Sound still poaching in the lanes, forcing GoP to make a lot of passes from their handlers to get the disc upfield. Got a flat mark and handler defenders helping out. And the swing from Scott Graber to Reese Lindmark is just a bit too far, and Puget Sound's going to get the disc on the goal line. Jonas Cole picking up the disc for Puget Sound. Got a kind of sloppy vert stack. Pass to space for number 23, Eric Hopfenbeck.
And Puget Sound comes back from down 2 breaks to take half 8-7. Back on serve here. And that's halftime. I'm Jimmy Leppert.
I'm Dylan Kane.
And this is half of Puget Sound versus Carleton College GOP at D3 Open Nationals. Brought to you by Scott Magazine, USA Ultimate, and Spin Ultimate. We'll be back with you for the second half. And we're back for the second half of Puget Sound versus Carleton College GOP. It's 8-7 Puget Sound over Carleton College. Before half, it looked like GOP was going to take it, but then Puget Sound came roaring back with 2 breaks into half, and now they lead. Starting off on D, pulling upwind, Puget Sound. Number 25, Bram Heyman, getting set to pull it for Puget Sound.
Pull for Puget Sound will roll out the left sideline, leaving John Isaac picking up the disc right in the line. Here's more of that junk zone from Puget Sound, forcing middle. Quick swing across the field to Reese Lindmark, up to Peter Rogers. This is swung back to Reese Lindmark to Scott Graber. Through the zone to Corey Farva. Great find. Here's Peter Rogers just a few yards outside the downwind end zone. Inside break. Corey Farva lays out just a few inches too short.
Kyle Lewis for Puget Sound picking up the disc. He's going to have it right at the back.
Kyle Lewis tries to break the mark around to the back inside, and Reese Lindmark goes down with what looks like it might be an injury.
He came down with a D, but number 10 for Puget Sound ran into him, and he gets up. Looks like he's okay for now. Won't be taking injury.
Lindmark, quick throw to space.
Number 11 comes down with it for GOP. Looking upfield. Goes back to Lindmark for the dump. Lindmark looking upfield now.
Peter Rogers with the around break.
Oh, great bid by number 15, Peter Rogers from GOP. Came down with that disc, but
It looks like he dropped it when he hit the ground, and might have also been a foul on the play. So the disc is going back to Reese Lindmark.
oh,
And Lindmark's dump flies up in the air. Peter Rogers catches it. Back to John Isaac. A quick throw to Corey Farva for the goal.
and that's 8-8 now. Carleton ties it up with Puget Sound. Wind is still gusting away here in Appleton, Wisconsin. It's been like this almost all weekend, though today it's certainly been a little bit windier than it was yesterday.
You can see GoP is leaving on key upwind handlers John Isaac and Matt Godfrey. They weren't leaving their top handler lines on for upwind points earlier in the game after they got their first upwind break, seeming to assume that Puget Sound couldn't score upwind, that they could just hold out for the rest of the game. But Puget Sound got that break right before half, and GoP needs to get one back to win this game. Gagny Maynard with the pull. Big floating OI backhand pull. Looks like it might float back a little bit.
Mike Alexander on the mark for GOP. They look... And the backhand to the break side for Puget Sound.
Eric
sails too
Hoffenbeck.
far.
Eric Hoffenbeck bidding for the disc, just short on that jump.
But it seems like that's what Puget Sound wanted. You know, whether they came down with it or not, they're back to punt and D mode.
Matt Godfrey picking up the disc for GOP. Swing to John Isaac.
Over to Alexander. Alexander looks upfield, gives it back to Isaac, swings it across, floats, and Hoffenbecker comes down with it for Puget Sound. Throws the flick up.
Alex Walker with the turn, and the flick is just a bit too far.
Bit too far from number 4, Daniel Mosel. Looked like even by the time he cut off to it was going to be out of bounds regardless.
John Isaac picking up for GOP.
Up to Alexander, and it's too far up.
This float's a bit too
Puget
high.
Sound comes down with it.
Jonas Cole with the backhand out to space.
And that is also taken too far by the wind.
John Mosel making that deep cut right off the turn again.
Puget Sound has no hesitation to put the disc up.
Excuse me, Daniel Mosel.
No hesitation to put the disc up, regardless of the wind. They've just been floating throws into the end zone, and most of them have carried away today. Layout try there by 44. Puget Sound.
John Isaac's throw floats, but Alex Walker comes down with it. It's trapped on the sideline. Upwind throw is Deed, looking for Gagny Maynard. And Puget Sound floats an IO flick to the break side.
And that one drifts back.
Just short for Eric Hopfenbeck again.
They had Hoffenbecker, who's coming out with a lot of junk today, but it floated away from him.
And it looks like Puget Sound's plan is when they're far from the end zone, they're throwing a quick huck out to space. And when they're closer, they're trying to break the mark with either an IO flick or an around backhand on that flick force.
Isaac flicks to the left side, and the errant throw, GOP came down with it. Now they're working the disc up the field.
Mike Alexander, it's John Isaac. Puget Sound forcing backhand on that backhand sideline. Lefty John Isaac's flick.
Foul on the play.
A huck from John Isaac, an uncharacteristic huck from GOP halfway up the field.
But it drops, and they're not able to come down with it.
Well, it looks like Alex Walker was the intended receiver, and Puget Sound hucks right back. Got a player waiting for it. Number 31 catches it in the end zone. That's Spencer Sheridan for the goal. As Puget Sound holds downwind.
GOP couldn't come with a D there. And it would be number 25, Bram Heyman, pulling for Puget Sound. The GOP O-line is set.
Puget Sound comes down in a zone. Looks like a three-man cup. This one is forcing towards the sideline, unlike the zone they showed earlier. A three-man cup with a short deep and two wings, and then a deep way back there. And GoP is swinging the disc at will, getting upline throws from the sideline. Get it out of the trap pretty easily to Reese Lindmark. Reese Lindmark breaks the mark again. You can see this
Farmer with the disc, throws it over, and number 67.
That's Anders Berglund with the goal.
And it's all tied up again.
You can see here, earlier in the game, Puget Sound went with a kind of junk zone that was forcing middle, forcing GoP to make a lot of throws across the middle of the field back and forth and hoping for either a floaty swing or baiting a bad throw through the center. But that was a three-man cup trapping to the sideline. And GoP kind of broke the mark at will there, swinging it back and forth and moving it upfield off of those swings. Got GoP coming out on a D point, pulling to Puget Sound's O-line as they're going downwind. Will Gagny Maynard with the pull. See if Puget Sound just puts it up again as they have been in the past. And they do. A big backhand floating to space. Number 4, Daniel Mosel catches it in the end zone for Puget Sound. A one-throw score. GOP had several players there, but Nice backhand with some touch on it, and Mosul had the read. It's a 10-9 lead for Puget Sound, as this game is on serve with one break per team, and Puget Sound's only 5 downwind holds away from winning this game.
Back for Puget Sound, getting ready to pull.
Hoppenbeck with the outside in backhand pull, rolling upfield. John Isaac to pick up for GoP. This trap 3-man cup is being shown again by Puget Sound as a violation is called. And the strength of this zone will really come down to how well the Puget Sound mark can push the disc towards the sideline. There's John Isaac with a swing to the flick sideline. Quick crash to Isaac. Throw over the top of the zone to Corey Farva. Upfield to Peter Rogers. Back to Isaac on the sideline. To Corey Farva again. And Puget Sound has gone man.
John Isaac with the disc.
Inside out break to Corey Farva for the goal.
We've noticed recently that Reese Lindmark on the Carleton College O points has started to be contained a bit, so I had to look elsewhere, and that's when Farva has come up big. Last couple of points, he's been making a lot of big plays for Carleton College.
Will Gagne Maynard with the pull. That is a high floating ball. It's going to come back in bounds, but land only a few yards past where he threw it. He does not look happy about that one.
Yeah, the wind gusted at the wrong time there for Gagne Maynard.
At the same time, if GoP can get the D here, you know Puget Sound was going to huck it. Going to take it in their own end zone anyway. Here's the IO break, and they hit number 44, Sam Berkelhammer, for the goal. It's a beautiful break throw by Puget Sound.
We saw that was a D-line for Carleton College that, you know, they were coming out looking for the break, but after the poor pull by Gagne Maynard, they didn't have much field. Puget Sound didn't have much field to work with and able to punch it in quickly.
Here comes that same Puget Sound D-line.
Heyman again with the pull for Puget Sound.
Nice pull from Heyman, an outside-in backhand rolling up the field.
Rolls back a bit. And John Isaac walks up to the disc, picks it up, swings to the side.
Here comes that 3-man cup zone again by Puget Sound. And GoP gets that swing and the throw up field. Gagne Maynard hits Anders Berglund for the goal. Gagne Maynard playing almost every point now for GOP. He's the puller and a big defender for them on the D-line, and is now playing as a rock, as a cutter on the O-line.
And it's now 11-11, GOP, Puget Sound Postman.
Looks like a timeout is called on the field. Timeout called by GOP. Here comes the GoP D-line. Reese Lindmark looking to pull. Here's Reese Lindmark with a big inside-out pull. Going to give Puget Sound some of their deepest field positions so far on their O-line. So they pick it up, and you got to think they're going to huck it right here of all the times. John Isaac on the mark, and a big flick huck. It's going going to sail out of bounds. Scott will get the disc on the backhand sideline, a few yards up ahead of the end zone. John Isaac will be picking up for GoP. And it looks like the disc went out of bounds about 30, 35 yards upfield. So Carleton will get some great field position with a chance for an upwind break here. John Isaac looking for a dump, throws the up line. A layout D on GoP's Scott Graber cutting up line. And the immediate huck from GoP, Reese Lindmark with the layout D on the end zone line. And it looks like Lindmark may be hurt. It looks like he's cramping up. He's been playing a lot of points here for GoP.
Yeah.
If he's out of the game, they're going to be in trouble.
And it looks like Lindmark's going off the field after the injury call.
Matt Godfrey came in for Reese Lindmark. They're looking for a consistent handler to help work it up against this wind.
He picks up the disc.
Godfrey swings to Isaac. Isaac with a quick throw to Graber, floats. And that's going to be a turn in the end zone.
And the wind picked up right at the wrong time there.
Puget Sounds, Jonas Cole picking up the disc on the goal line. As the Postman set a vert stack. Quick backhand break out to space, and number 44, Sam Berkelhammer, catches the goal for Puget Sound. And now up 12-11.
The Postmen just have to keep where they are and keep punching in the downwind O points, and they'll win this game.
You got to think GoP needs to make an adjustment here. They've been completely incapable of finding their cutters upfield. They're just looking for Isaac and Godfrey and Graber and Lindmark when he's handling to work the disc back and forth, either with swings or with up line cuts. Puget Sound is doing a good job of keeping the GoP cutters forced out, forced deep, and the GoP handlers are just not putting those hucks, whether they don't have them or they want to work more conservatively. And right now it's not working for them. Puget Sound's Eric Hopfenbeck pulling for this D-line. Going from left to right, we have Eric Hopfenbeck, Brian Heyman, Elliot Cohen, Garrett Stanford, Luke Jesperson, Kai Lewis, and Henry Funk. John Isaac to Gagny Maynard, and Gagny Maynard throws straight into the ground. Kai Lewis picking up.
Bad turn by
Brian Heyman hucks it, and it's going to go right out of bounds. It looked like he was trying to throw an IO backhand, and it was just caught by the wind as the soft cap goes off. GoP's John Isaac picking up the disc pretty close to his own end zone on that backhand sideline. Swing to Scott Graber. And a GoP huck, uncharacteristic huck to Corey Farva, who had steps, but it was a kind of blady huck that was not going to work to the shorter Farva.
It's 11-12.
Here's Luke Jesperson of Puget Sound picking up as GoP looks to set their zone. Got their four-man cup with the wings pinched in really tight. Here's Kai Lewis. You got to think he's looking for that hammer over the top, and you see it right away on the far sideline to Eric Hopfenbeck upfield. And that hammer proves to be the key to, a drop by Brian Heyman takes away a great break opportunity. And another huck by GoP. This time it's dropped in the end zone by number 21, Ian Fisher, with a great chance for that downwind hold that GoP needs desperately right now.
That's the look that Puget Sound has been doing all day on their downwind 0 points.
Looks like GoP is trying to take a page out of Puget Sound's book.
And Ian Fisher's the guy in for Reese Lindmark.
Here, GoP's wings are playing much more conservatively than they were before. When we saw them earlier this tournament, they were playing within
25 Brian Heyman.
Within 15 yards of the disc, forcing either throws through traffic or big throws over the top that we've now seen that Kyle Lewis has. John Isaac with a throw over the top hits Peter Rogers in the back corner of the end zone for the GOP goal.
And since soft cap went off, we believe it's a game to 14 now.
12-12, game to 14. So you got to think it's Puget Sound's game to lose. They have the downwind 0 point right now. 2 holds and the game is over. Reese Lindmark coming out with a pull. He had a pretty big inside-out backhand pull the last time he pulled for GOP. Let's see if he can do it again. Reese Lindmark with the pull. Puget Sound with a huck right away.
Oh.
And Peter Rogers gets the D, poaching off of his man, stopping that low huck, and John Isaac will take the disc about 10 yards outside his own end zone. Quick swing to the sideline. Alex Walker up the line to Corey Favre. Past a bidding Puget Sound defender to Godney Maynard. Godney Maynard up to the sideline to John Isaac.
Isaac looking upfield.
Isaac with a huck. He hits Alex Walker right on the goal line. Walker hits Scott Graver on the sideline, and Scott Graver will call timeout only a few yards out of the upwind end zone. Hold on.
A little confusion here by the observer. And timeout is called by GOP.
And Scott Graver is going to take the disc only a few yards outside the upwind end zone for what will be a huge upwind break for GoP, giving them the downwind D point with a chance to win the D3 USAU National Championship.
Just a reminder, this is brought to you by USA Ultimate, Skyd Magazine, and Spin Ultimate. We're here in sunny and very windy Appleton, Wisconsin. It's been like this almost all weekend.
And we really saw GoP taking a leaf out of Puget Sound's book. John Isaac ripping an upwind huck to Alex Walker on that sideline, something that we hadn't seen them doing very much all game. That had very much been Puget Sound's game plan. Get the disc, punt the disc, take whatever yardage you can get, try and come down with it. And it ended up working for GOP with a chance for this upwind break. GoP coming out with their standard isolation set in the end zone. They've got 3 handlers back, 2 cutters and a vert stack isolated, and 2 more in the back of the end zone.
Back right at the end zone, leaving that left side wide open. And you see Hoffenbeck for Puget Sound poaches off in the lane.
Puget Sound clearly trying to stop the...
Lindmark goes up line.
Ooh.
Throw's not there. Throw in. And deed by Hoffenbeck on Lindmark.
Looks like a call maybe being made. I think Lindmark is claiming Hoffenbeck ran through him on his way to get the D.
Wasn't much we could see from here.
Looks like the observer will be making a call.
Not sure what the call is yet. And it was a foul. Lindmark gets the disc right on the end line.
It looks like that foul happened in the end zone, so Lindmark will be taking the disc on the cone on the corner of the end zone. Here's John Isaac up line, not there. Lindmark with a throw.
To Isaac, and they score.
That's an upwind break for GOP as they're going to have the chance to
13-12
to pull downwind for the game.
Big upwind break from Reese Lindmark to John Isaac, making it 13-12 GOP.
Go, Postman!
Postman will need to work it in upwind if they want to stay alive in this game.
When this is over, do a real quick conclusion. We gotta get
Puget Sound's upwind O-line coming out. Going from left to right, we have Sam Berkelhammer, Nitai Detail, Jonas Cole, Spencer Sheridan, Eric Hopfenbeck, Kai Lewis, and Luke Jesperson. Puget Sound's been running pretty consistent O and D lines the whole game. I think this is the first time we've seen Kai Lewis playing at O point.
Yeah. He's typically been the main handler on the D line.
But these are all their playmakers all game long. Guys who've been getting Ds, guys who've been making plays in the air, throwing hucks. Let's see what this line has got. Big pull from Gagne Maynard is outside in, and that's going to go out the back of the end zone.
Yeah, that's backed by us. That was a huge pull.
That was like at least 20 yards out the back of the end zone. Impressive strength. So Kai Lewis will pick up at his own brick mark as Puget Sound comes out in a vert stack. Kai Lewis hustles up.
Scott Graber on the mark, forcing him flick. He looks for upline.
Kai Lewis with the IO break. Finds number 11, Nitai Detail upfield. Back to Kai Lewis. Here's a huck, a big flick huck upfield. And the D looks to be made by Gagne Maynard on GOP.
That's another big D from Gagne Maynard.
That was just short of the end zone. A great shot for Puget Sound to get the D. You got to think, is GOP going to huck here? Are they going to keep from turning it over in the backfield, or are they going to try and work it like they have all weekend? Swing to John Isaac on the, ooh, wow. John Isaac looks to throw it down the flick sideline, his lefty backhand sideline. And
looks like he ran right into the Puget Sound player's face.
Maybe a foul on the play. If John Isaac claimed, yeah, it looks like there's a foul called on the play. Looks to be uncontested. And the disc is in play. John Isaac with the swing. Finds Reese Lindmark.
Reese looking.
And
big backhand huck.
Out
and
in
that's
space.
Going to sail too far.
It's going to go way too far. Another throw. 15, 20 yards out the back of the end zone.
Puget Sound goes back to pick it up, and for one of the first times today, it's actually cloudy here. The sun is hidden by clouds.
As Puget Sound Spencer Sheridan picks it up. So they come out again in the vert stack. Kai Lewis going up line, throw to space.
Oh, big
tipped.
layout D.
A giant
Scott
D.
Graber with a big layout D.
And John Isaac picks the disc up
the disc right in the end line.
Peter Rogers isolated in the end zone. Fouls called downfield.
Some great man-to-man D by Puget Sound right now. Looking up every option for John Isaac.
It's number 31, Spencer Sheridan, playing D on Peter Rogers. GOP got right into their end zone set, isolating that player in front of handler John Isaac, looking for a quick throw to space, but Spencer Sheridan shut him down. Here's GOP just a few yards outside the end zone for the game. Jonas Cole on the mark. I'm John Isaac. Isaac to space for
great toe-in grab.
Peter Rogers catches the goal for GOP for the win.
And GOP wins 14-12.
With an incredible upwind break in the second to last point of the game.
That was Peter Rogers with that grab. And GOP wins the D3 Open National Championship.
So you can see their women's teammates Eclipse running onto the field to cheer them on.
Well, today was another windy day on the weekend. It was a great weekend here in Appleton, Wisconsin. Wind certainly dictated play at a lot of the times. But Carleton College GOP, one of the few teams that really showed patience and, all the fundamental skill required to play in heavy winds all weekend long, comes out on top over the Puget Sound Postmen, who played the tightest game with Carleton College GOP all weekend.
Yeah, the final score is 14-12, GoP over the Postmen.
And once again, this is presented by Scott Magazine, USA Ultimate, and Spin Ultimate. I'm Jimmy Leppert.
I'm Dylan Kane.
And thanks for watching.